Because of the flying sparks and the firestorm, I couldn't see anything at first. A witch's cauldron was waiting for me out there. No street, only rubble, nearly a meter high. Glass girders, stones, and craters. I tried to get rid of the sparks by constantly patting them off my coat. It was useless. I stopped doing it, stumbled, and someone behind me called out, "Take your coat off, it started to burn." In the pervading extreme heat, I hadn't even noticed. I took off the coat and dropped it. Next to me, a woman was screaming continually, "My den's burning down, my den's burning down," and dancing in the street. As I go on, I can still hear her screaming, but I don't see her again. I run, I stumble, I don't even know where I am anymore. I've lost all sense of direction, because all I can see is 3 steps ahead. Suddenly, I fall into a big hole, a bomb crater about 6 meters wide and 2 meters deep, and I end up down there lying on top of 3 women. I shake them by their clothes and start to scream at them, telling them that they must move out of here, but they don't move anymore. I believe I was severely shocked by this incident. I seem to have lost all emotional feeling. Quickly, I climbed across the women, pulled my suitcase after me, and crawled on all 4s out of the crater. To my left, I suddenly see a woman. She carries a bundle in her arms. It is a baby. She runs, she falls, and the child flies like an arc into the fire. It's only my eyes which take this in. I myself feel nothing. The woman remains lying on the ground, completely still. Why? What for? I don't know. I just stumble on. The firestorm is incredible. There are calls for help and screams from somewhere, but all around is one single inferno. I hold another wet handkerchief in front of my mouth. My hands and my face are burning. It feels as if the skin is hanging down in strips. On my right, I see a big burnt-out shop where lots of people are standing. I join them but think, no, I can't stay here either. This place is completely surrounded by fire. I leave all these people behind and stumble on. I have no conception of what the street actually looked like, but it is especially from those dark patches that the people come who wring their hands and cry the same thing over and over. You can't carry on there. We've just come from there. Everything is burning there. Wherever and to whomsoever I turn, always that same answer. In front of me is something that might be a street, filled with a hellish rain of sparks, which look like enormous rings of fire when they hit the ground. I have no choice. I must go through. I press another wet handkerchief to my mouth and almost get through, but I fall and am convinced that I cannot go on. It's hot. My hands are burning like fire. I drop my suitcase. I am past carrying and too weak. At least there's nothing to lug around with me anymore. I stumbled on towards where it was dark. Suddenly I saw people again, right in front of me. They scream and gesticulate with their hands, and then, to my utter horror and amazement, I see how one after the other, they simply seem to let themselves fall to the ground. I had a feeling that they were being shot, but my mind could not understand what was really happening. Today I know that these unfortunate people were the victims of lack of oxygen. They fainted and then burnt to cinders. I fall then, stumbling over a woman, and as I lie right next to her, I see how her clothes are burning away. Insane fear grips me, and from then on I repeat one simple sentence to myself continuously. I don't want to burn to death. Once more, I fall down and feel that I am not going to be able to get up again, but the fear of being burnt pulls me to my feet. Crawling, stumbling, my last handkerchief pressed to my mouth. I do not know how many people I fell over. I knew only one feeling, that I must not burn. Then my handkerchiefs are all finished. It's dreadfully hot. I can't go on, and I remain lying on the ground. Suddenly a soldier appears in front of me. I wave and wave again. He comes over to me, and I whisper into his ear, my voice almost gone, "Please take me with you. I don't want to burn." But that soldier was much too weak to lift me to my feet. He laid my 2 arms crosswise over my breast and stumbled on across me. I followed him with my eyes until he disappears somewhere in the darkness. I try once more to get up on my feet, but I can only manage to crawl forward on all fours. I can still feel my body. I know I'm still alive. Suddenly, I'm standing up, but there's something wrong. Everything seems so far away, and I can't hear or see properly anymore. As I find out later, like all the others, I was suffering from lack of oxygen. I must have stumbled forwards roughly 10 paces when I all at once inhaled fresh air. There's a breeze. I take another breath, inhale deeply, and my senses are clear. In front of me is a broken tree. As I rush towards it, I know that I have been saved. I walk on a little and discover a car. I'm pleased and decide to spend the night in it. The car is full of suitcases and boxes, but I find enough room on the rear seats to squeeze in. Another stroke of good luck for me is that the car's windows are all broken, and I have to keep awake, putting out the sparks which drifted in. I don't know how long I sat there, when a hand suddenly descended on my shoulder, and a man's voice said, "Hello, you must get out of there." I said with great fear in my voice, "Please, allow me to stay here. I'll give you all the money I've got on me." If I think about this now, it almost sounds like a joke. But the answer I got was, "No, I don't want your money. The car is on fire." Good God! I leapt out immediately and could see that indeed all 4 tires were burning. I hadn't noticed because of the tremendous heat. Now I looked at the man and recognized him as the soldier who had put my arms across my chest. When I asked him, he confirmed it. Then he started to weep. He continued to stroke my back, mumbling words about bravery, Russian campaign, but this is hell. I don't grasp his meaning and offer him a cigarette. We walk on a little way and discover 2 crouching figures. They were 2 men, one a railway man who was crying because, in the smoke and debris, he could not find the way to his home. The other, a civilian, who had escaped from a cellar, together with 60 people, but had to leave his wife and children behind, due to some dreadful circumstances. All 3 men were crying now, but I just stood there, incapable of a single tear. It was as if I was watching a film. We spent half the night together, sitting on the ground too exhausted even to carry on a conversation. The continuous explosions didn't bother us, but the hollow cries for help, which came continuously from all directions, were gruesome. Toward 6 o'clock in the morning, we parted. I spent all the daylight hours which followed in the town, searching for my fiancé. I looked for him amongst the dead, because hardly any living beings were to be seen anywhere. What I saw is so horrific that I shall hardly be able to describe it. Dead. Dead everywhere. Some completely black like charcoal, others completely untouched, lying as if they were asleep. Women in aprons, women with children sitting in the trams as if they had just nodded off. Many women, many young girls, many small children. Soldiers who were only identifiable by the metal buckles on their belts, almost all of them naked. From some of the debris poked arms, heads, legs, shattered skulls. Static water tanks were filled up to the top with dead human beings. Most people looked as if they had been inflated, with large yellow and brown stains on their bodies. I think I was incapable of absorbing the meaning of this cruelty anymore, for there were also so many little babies, terribly mutilated, and all the people lying so close together that it looked as if someone had put them down there, street by street, deliberately. I then went through the Grosser Garten, and there one thing I did realize. I was aware that I had constantly to brush hands away from me, hands which belonged to people who wanted me to take them with me, hands which clung to me. But I was much too weak to lift anyone up. My mind took this in vaguely, as if seen through a veil. I was in such a state that I did not realize there was a 3rd attack on Dresden. Late that afternoon, I collapsed in the Ostra alley, where 2 men took me to a friend who lived on the outskirts of the city.